Welcome to this explainer. Today, I am stepping right into the role of your executive coach because we are going to embark on a total transformation of your personal charisma. Together, we're going to decode the psychology of presence. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That almost magnetic ability some people have to just absolutely captivate a room without even raising their voice. We're going to break down the behavioral science behind this and give you the actionable tools to use it in your own career. This isn't just a theory, it's about fundamentally shifting how you are perceived. So, we're going to deconstruct your presence in 5 quick stages: the myth of charisma, the anchor in the storm, the power of boundaries, the weight of silence, and finally, the true nature of respect. Think of this as your personal roadmap to the behavioral signals of true leadership. Let's get into it. Section 1, the myth of charisma, or volume versus presence. We need to shatter a very stubborn misconception right out of the gate. Have you ever wondered why certain individuals can literally change the entire atmosphere of a room the second they walk through the door? They don't announce themselves, they aren't putting on a show, yet somehow everyone naturally leans in, they get interrupted way less, and their words just carry more weight. It feels like this intangible, magical gift that you're either born with or you're not. But as your coach, I am telling you that's completely false. This is a learned set of behaviors. See, the pervasive myth tells us that charisma is all about being the loudest person in the room, constantly demanding attention and dominating the conversation. But the reality is completely different. True presence relies heavily on behavioral signals of emotional stability and a deeply calm presence. It's not magic. It's rooted in the subconscious signals your colleagues' brains are picking up on automatically well before anyone even says hello. Moving from the left side of the screen to the right is the core of what we're doing today. That brings us to section 2, the anchor in the storm. Let's look at how the power of emotional control builds your stability. I want you to imagine the modern business world as a turbulent, stormy ocean. You've got impossible deadlines, sudden crises, complex human dynamics. It's just an environment overflowing with anxiety and overreactions. In the absolute middle of all that swirling chaos, your emotional control is a solid, heavy anchor. The more grounded and calm you remain internally, the higher your perceived status rises externally. It makes sense, right? People are naturally drawn to the one person who isn't being tossed around by the waves. And here is where it gets fascinating. Human brains are evolutionarily wired to constantly evaluate the status of the people around them. Subconsciously, people aren't looking at your job title or your expensive suit. They're actually asking these 3 specific questions. Do you seem secure in your own skin? Do you actually value yourself? And are others naturally following your lead? They are reading your physiology and your baseline calmness to answer those questions. This comparison perfectly highlights the link between inner calm and status. Rushing to react, over-explaining yourself, or desperately seeking approval. Those are massive insecure signals. They make even the smartest individuals look totally unsure of themselves. On the flip side, speaking slowly, taking your time, staying physically grounded, that sends an undeniable signal of security and rock-solid confidence. Calmness is pure power. When you stop rushing, you immediately stop looking like you're at the mercy of someone else's timeline. Moving right along to section 3, the power of boundaries and protecting your energy. This is a crucial turning point in your coaching today. To really master boundaries, we have to understand status psychology. Basically, humans unconsciously look at how you treat yourself to figure out exactly how they should treat you. If you consistently shrink yourself just to avoid discomfort, or if you tolerate a lack of respect, you are communicating low value. People will simply mirror whatever standard you set for yourself. And this is where true behavioral transformation happens. Stop saying yes to everything. When you fiercely protect your time, you inherently stop chasing external validation. But why does refusing certain requests naturally increase your perceived value? Well, it's simple. Scarcity creates worth. When you treat your own attention, energy, and time as premium assets that have to be earned, other people will immediately start treating them that way too. They respect you more because you're showing undeniable self-respect. Your restraint, that is your greatest asset. Now for section 4, the weight of silence. Let's learn how to leverage something that honestly terrifies most people. Stillness signals control, and control creates authority. Most of us are so uncomfortable with silence. In a meeting, if a pause happens, people panic. They immediately rush to fill the void with filler words or over-explanations. But those with true presence, they're entirely comfortable just sitting in that pause. They don't feel the need to perform every single second, and that stillness creates an immense psychological weight in the room. The anxious communicator rushes to explain everything, right? They essentially flood the room with nervous noise, fighting for attention. But the centered leader, they take a breath, they think before they speak, they deliver their message cleanly, and then they stop talking. That deliberate stillness captivates an audience way better than noise ever could, because it conveys persuasive certainty instead of desperation. Finally, Section 5, the true nature of respect. It's time to distinguish authentic leadership from mere background noise. Loud people, the ones who dominate conversations and demand the spotlight, might definitely win some temporary attention, but it's fleeting. It's like sand slipping through your fingers. Deep respect, on the other hand, is like an oak tree. It's earned over time through emotional discipline and staying firmly centered in your integrity. That's exactly why a truly charismatic leader can practically whisper and still have the entire room hanging on their every word. One of the biggest misunderstandings in the corporate world is thinking that to inspire respect, you have to be intimidating, cold, or untouchable. That is so far from the truth. True respect is never fear-based. It stems from a quiet, unshakable inner stability. It's about knowing your intrinsic value and moving through the world without ever feeling the need to announce how important you are. So, as we wrap up this explainer and close out our coaching session, I want to leave you with a provocative question. Think about your physical posture, your emotional anchor, and your inner dialogue right before your next high-stakes meeting. Will you walk in, try to prove your worth, and just make noise? Or will you simply exist in your quiet power and let your grounded presence do the talking? The choice and the profound charisma that follows is entirely yours.